Hi, I'm Rob from Radio Times Gaming, and these are my 5 top tips for you to get started with Starfield. Number 1, choose carefully. At the start of the game, you'll probably want to, rush in and start loads of exciting adventures, but I'd encourage you to actually read every single different option on the character creation menu, because this is your first chance to really kind of put your stamp on your character. Me personally, I chose to have an industrialist background because that was the one that I saw came with perks that would allow you to persuade better in conversations and in a lot of cases avoid combat altogether. But if you're the kind of person that loves combat, look for a background and traits that will kind of beef you up in those ways. Number 2, share the load. This game is probably the worst I can remember in recent memory in terms of your character being a bit of a weakling at the start and not being able to carry loads of stuff, and you will get overburdened fairly quickly if you go around and pick up every single item that you can off of every enemy and every shelf and everything. So yeah, I would say share the load. It's worth noting that your ship has a storage compartment that you can leave a bunch of stuff in, and so do each of your companion characters, including the robot that you pick up and the human companion that you pick up really early in the game. So each of those, if you're getting overburdened, it will make it harder for you to run around and do things. So palm off a load of stuff and just drop a load of stuff or sell a load of stuff if you manage to max out every single person around you with all your junk. Number 3, don't get too attached to one planet. Now, this is a big one for me because, I love Knights of the Old Republic, I love Mass Effect, and that part of me wants to, go to a planet, complete it, get to, whatever is the end beat of the narrative on that planet before I move on. But this is a game with a whole galaxy of different stuff, and stories can intertwine. Stories can take you from one planet to another planet, or you will probably regret it if you stick on one planet for too long, because you'll realize, oh, actually, I've got a load of missions now that I could have gone off and done on other planets, and you might feel a bit stuck in the mud. And that kind of brings me to number 4, smell the roses. Is what I've called it quite poetically. What I basically mean here is take the time to look around. Follow your nose, go to different places. If you might find yourself kind of just about to approach a planet and you'll get a distress call from someone. It will almost always be something that's worth doing. Sometimes it's a bit of a trap, but I would say, don't be afraid to follow your nose, smell the roses, look around, go talk to random people, go do random things. If someone tells you, oh, I know there's some guy over there, he was talking about something, just follow up on it. Take the time to look around, and you'll be rewarded with interesting bits of stories, arguably more interesting kind of variety of different topics and things coming up than if you did stay on one planet and just bash through in order every mission that the locals throw at you. And finally, don't be afraid to follow your heart. Again, a bit poetic there. But what I mean by this is don't be too worried about what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do. The game does have, different dialogue choices at pretty much every juncture. There's normally, a serious one, an angry one, a funny one. Just pick whichever one you want. Don't worry about, I'm trying to build, it's not like Knights of the Old Republic where you can have a light side or a dark side character. As much as characters will remember the stuff that you've said and they might make a little snide remark afterwards, most of the time, unless it's a big, obvious, massive story choice, just feel free to do what you want and follow your heart, follow what you think will be fun. I was playing, to start with, as I was saying, I was going to one planet, I was trying to finish off one planet at a time, and it's easy to get bogged down, and it's also easy to get bogged down in your dialogue choices. If you're like, oh, I'm playing as a nice person, I'm going to pick the nice story, the nice conversation choice every time. Yeah, that's fine, but you will miss out on a lot of the comedy if you don't every now and then throw in a joke answer, or, if you think a character's a bit of, a rude person and they're asking you for something, argue back with them a bit. You'll be surprised sometimes you can actually argue your way out of having to do something for someone if you actually call them on the rubbish that they're spouting. So yeah, those are my tips. Choose carefully at the start, share the load between all the different characters in terms of carrying junk around. Don't get attached to one planet, move around, follow your nose, smell the roses, go talk to people, engage with items. You might pick up a sandwich and some guy will be like, hey, that's my sandwich, and you're going to miss that fun stuff if you're just constantly worried about getting to the next story beat. And yeah, don't be afraid to follow your heart in terms of your character and what they do. If your heart says, why would I help this rude person that's asking me for something, then call them on it, or go for the joke answer. Don't always feel like you have to be a nice guy, because you're not going to turn into a Sith Lord or anything at the end. You can build your character, go on your journey in any way that you want, with a lot of freedom, and yeah, just go out there and enjoy it. Have fun in the Starfield.